Welcome to our Adobe LinkedIn live session, and thank you for joining us today in this format. We are here to talk about the new era of experience and actually about the findings of a research we have done with the London School of Economics. So when we say new era of experiences, what do we mean? The past 12 months have been dominated, of course, by this horrible pandemic out there, and it has been something that the human mankind never has experienced. Both businesses and consumers and people had to face completely new challenges. So we moved from a world of digital to a digital world. Really, everything that we touch, everything that we do has by now a digital component to it. And because of that, we see at a lot of businesses that it has ever than more before become a C-level topic on the agenda of the CEOs. Now, we say it's a new era because we strongly believe that delivering great customer experience in the digital world is not just a nice to have any longer. It's actually a must have, and it's a competitive requirement and an advantage. Now, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We all see that countries like the UK or the USA are making great strides into giving vaccination to a majority of their population, and also in Europe, I'm sure we will be over the hump very soon. And that means businesses across the globe need to start to prepare themselves to reopen and to survive and actually to succeed in this new era. And I'm discussing these findings not by myself. I'm very happy to have Kelly Hungerford here from Sunstar. So thank you for joining, Kelly. Kelly is Director of Digital Transformation Strategy and Services at Sunstar Group. And for those who don't know Sunstar, we will hear more about what the company is doing since many, many years already. So we'll hear also how Kelly and Sunstar as a company were able to thrive amid the pandemic. And she will tell us a bit more both on the B2C and on the B2B side of their business. So very glad to have you.
Thanks for joining. Or thanks for letting me join. Thanks for letting me join you. Great to be here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me talk a few more minutes about this research we have done with the London School of Economics. Yeah, so we have actually run 20,000 interviews with 300 companies across France, Germany, UK, and also Switzerland. We started this research already in 2007, and the latest edition, the latest finding, was obviously just at the end of 2020. Yeah, and we looked at technology consultancies. We looked against towards brands from all sectors, be it insurances, be it financial services, be it retail, be it pharma, be it healthcare. And one thing that we then had as a result was the ability to categorize the various companies into three categories. There are, amidst this pandemic, survivors who barely get by. We have hiders, and we have thrivers. And actually 25% of the companies that were interrogated are actually falling into this thriver category. And they are set to also flourish in the post-pandemic economy. Now, the question is, what does make those thrivers so successful? And if we actually try to summarize that, there are four aspects, 4 points that these thrivers have in common. First, they're hands-on and open to change, specifically in the area of their leadership. They embrace digital change. They have a digital infrastructure set up where 90% of them believe that cloud is the only way to go. And they are constantly questioning the status quo on the digital environment of themselves. Secondly, and it's not all about technology, secondly, they're building an organizational culture around trust and specifically also around empowerment, giving their teams, their individuals, the ability to make decisions and also run autonomous initiatives. They also, number 3, adopt rapid decision-making as part of their DNA to quickly respond to changed market trends. And fourthly, they enabled an environment of continual learning and upskilling where employees never stand still and are actually encouraged and have also an environment to spend time learning new stuff. So those are the four things: hands-on, open to change, build organizational culture around empowerment, adopting rapid decision making, and enabling continuous learning and upskilling. This is what we find around Thrivers. Sunstar is absolutely also one of the Thriver companies. And now, Kelly, would be a good time that you explain the audience what Sunstar actually does and what your role is, what you have seen Sunstar doing pre-pandemic and then during the pandemic.
Great. Christoph, thank you. So I would love to introduce the audience to Sunstar. Sunstar was founded in 1932, for anyone who doesn't know Sunstar. They're a Japanese global oral care brand, but they do a lot more also. They're involved on the engineering side and also the consumer goods side. I'm work in the group Digital Transformation, Strategy and Services. It's a new group at Sunstar that was just founded in 2020. And that came out of a few years before that, prior to that, working with Sunstar on digital transformation. I was a marketing technology consultant. And in 2016, Sunstar had the foresight to kind of think, hey, we need to start bracing in digital, and modifying the way we work in marketing to be able to meet our customers where they are. So already in 2019, they had the idea, we need to dedicate a department to just this moving forward. And luckily in 2020, well, we know, as we all know, that was very insightful thinking back then. So very, very good on their part. So Sunstar, the group that I'm working for, is the oral care group. And Sunstar is one of the leaders in oral care and creating interdentals, so the little in between the brush, in between the toothbrushes. And we have this very, very heavy tradition in manufacturing. Sunstar is a manufacturer, and really B2B marketing. And moving into the pandemic, we really wanted to be able to embrace B2B to C, and also start building those relationships with the consumers, as well as strengthening with the professionals that are so important in our journey. So that brought us up to 2020, the pandemic, and all of the work that we had done before then that I look forward to talking about. And I just have to say, I loved the research also from the London School of Economics that Adobe did. It's a fascinating read, and I think there's so much to learn for organizations, such great food for thought. So Sunstar is absolutely thrilled to be a part of the top 25%. And yeah, let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about this. One of the things that I mentioned, and thank you, by the way, for the feedback on our survey. Yeah, it's great to see that it's helpful and insightful. The first thing that Thrivers have in common is this hands-on and open aptitude towards change. And technology, digital marketing technology, is also a big piece of the puzzle. It's not everything, but it's one big piece of the puzzle that helps delivering these competitive experiences to businesses and consumers alike. What have you done in terms of technology, and what have you benefited from as an organization from digital marketing technology?
Yeah, so I think what's interesting is when I started working with Sunstar in 2016 in Europe. So we started this initiative. It was called Achieve, and it was a digital business initiative to transform, starting with marketing, the way that the company thought about technology, and really reaching consumers or professionals where they are. And what was very interesting was in Europe, there was no marketing technology in house. And I don't think that this is uncommon for more traditional organizations, small to medium enterprise. And while Sunstar, I'll preface, it's a global oral care company, Japanese company that is present internationally, but we work very regionally. So it's extremely local. So each region really has the autonomy it needs to go to market for that region. And in this context, there was just no marketing technology in Europe. And this was, I mean, we know what had worked prior to let's say even the early 2000s or mid 2000s of working with distributors or manufacturers to get as a manufacturer, distributors and partners to get your product out there. Doesn't work as well in an era where you need to orchestrate experiences and you need that technology to glue everything together. So it was very fragmented. It was outsourced. In-house, there was no technology. So the decision was really made to, in already before 2020, say back in 2016, to say we need to find a new approach. And with that all in context, a platform approach was great, and cloud was very important because we really wanted the marketers to have the technology in their hands. We also wanted to be able to make quick changes. I think marketers today, they need an extreme amount of autonomy. I call it controlled autonomy. So you can have that beauty of really headquarters or that strategy being implemented. You can be compliant. You can have asset centralized, content centralized, but then really when you push out to the edge, the marketers are able to run fast, they're able to scale, and they have the autonomy that they need to be able to move forward. And we just saw that last year, how important that was, that they had the autonomy to react to their local environments. And I think that in that sense, the pandemic was, it was just the model for really working on this controlled autonomy that cloud allows us in order to work with less technology in-house and leave the heavy lifting somewhere else, but really push out to let the marketers move fast forward.
Mhm. So if I summarize that, cloud to give you the flexibility, cloud to give you a controlled autonomy, which I love, by the way, that phrase. It needs to be user friendly so marketeers can use it by their own, and on the edge that you could be fast. So that is the technology piece. We also heard in the research that there was a lot of feedback about the right leadership qualities. So if you look back, what did you learn from that experience? What were the leadership qualities that were really important from yourself, but also from other executives at Sunstar to move this Achieve initiative forward?
So I think first and foremost was trust. So I think leadership really needs to when in order to move something big, you have to trust your teams. And I have to say Sunstar was great at that, where if we think back to an organization, and I think so many organizations face this, you don't know where to begin, right? So you have to trust the people that you put in place to make the decisions, you back it, and then let them run forward, even when it's uncomfortable. So I think trust is a really big factor. It's trust in your teams, it's trust in your partners. I think the partners moving forward are going to be even more important than they were in the past because we have so much writing in the next years on not only like backpedaling and trying to move forward. You know, we've all been affected the past 12 to 16 months so heavily. We have a lot of a lot to make up for, but I think moving forward as well, and I think trust the last 12 months, um, I think what teams have proven that they can do, be it remote working, be it with the technology, the creativity, there's just a lot more trust built into kind of our working day than probably pre pandemic, which is really interesting. So I think trust is a really big factor. And I think also when we talk about just back to the technology again, also I think one of the beauties of the cloud and marketing technologies today is that you can standardize. So that kind of goes to the cloud, but I think the standardization and the centralization of assets, of content, of strategy, of really starting to also rework processes were really, really important. And we had started that work ahead of time that really allowed us to scale. But I really see the need even more now to centralize, to be able to decentralize and to standardize to ensure that everything runs smoothly. So I guess the investment in those that process work that needs to be done, and also the belief and the trust again that we can standardize, we can work for the better of the organization. Let's follow that 80-20 rule. I bet 80% of what we do can be used across teams and that 20% localized. So kind of trust on that area too, where we as team members have to trust a lot more that the decisions being made, challenge them, obviously, be a part of that conversation, but trusting that that's going to work moving forward. And we saw in the region that the strategy did pay off,
Mhm.
and it is working.
Awesome! Congratulations again. So let's sum it up. Yeah, if you, I mean, you clearly are a thriver. Yeah, and if you would give the advice to the audience and break it down to the three success factors, the three key factors, and I'm sure trust will be amongst those. Yeah, but but if there are three factors, what would be the three that you would like to give it to them?
Okay, so you're right, trust, but we've talked about that. Empowerment, empowering teams. And again, I think the technology, we can't underscore enough that the technology that you choose will either make or break the deal. So the partners you choose make or break the deal. But the ability to empower your teams to go out and make those decisions on their own. So to provide that standardized framework, that solution set, is really important, and empower them to go and experiment. And you can do that within, if you have the process and you have the centralization, the standardization, then they can go out and experiment. And we had failures, we had successes, but you can just do it much faster. So I think it goes back to that old, fail, learn, reset, go. You can just do it faster. And that's what we need today. We need to be really, really quick. I think the culture is a big factor also. And that kind of goes into the trust and the teaming. And that goes back to one of the kind of the four pillars that you spoke about before, was really being hands-on. I think leaders today, they need to be hands-on and working with their teams. They need to be able to know when to step back and clear those roadblocks. But there's a lot to be said for someone, especially when it comes to the marketing technologies. If you can get in, you have to understand it's a complex world out there. And again, I think being able to leverage cloud technologies, leverage the codeless movement that's moved forward. We really don't want to spend our time developing. We want to plug and play and move forward. And you can really empower your teams and allow them to move forward that way. And then being hands on, you build this culture of, I understand your needs.
Mhm.
I can get in there and help you out. I mean, we don't need to be coding anymore. So hands on
Mhm.
can be, I understand. If we just think of GDPR across the region, if you look at that across Europe, really
Mhm.
complex. And if you understand that and really can sink your teeth into that, you can help a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to compliance and moving forward in that manner, just by being hands on there. And I think that that was also a big differentiator with our team. We were very much a support team for our marketeers. And I think that was a difference in change than pre-pandemic. So that
Mhm.
was quite okay. And just giving them the autonomy to run. The
Mhm.
marketers know what's best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Wow, a lot of great advice and wealth of knowledge that you have and that you were sharing here with the audience. So thank you very much, and thank you, of course, also to the audience for joining us here, Kelly and myself. We have packed all of this up, of course. If you would like to learn more about the thrivers and the hiders and survivors and more about the research, you can find it, of course, here in the bio. It's presented here from Adobe and the London School of Economics as the New Era in Experience report. And of course, you can also find out more about Sunstar's journey and their experiences. So there's much more that I think Sunstar is able to share, and of other Thriver brands as well. So with that, big thanks to Kelly, to you again, big thanks to the audience, and have all a great day and stay safe.
Thank you.